Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's live Zoo to You. My name is Lexi. I am an educator here at the Stone Zoo, and today we are celebrating World Stick Day, World Stick Insect Day. Now, as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to put those in the chat, and I'll try my very best to answer them at the end. Now, without further ado, the stars of our show. These are our giant prickly stick insects here at the Stone Zoo. They are also known as Australian walking sticks. Now, I don't know about you all, but when I was growing up, I always kind of got the ick when I saw different kinds of insects. They kind of freaked me out a little bit. But I'm hoping that in today's chat, you learn a little bit about these really cool insects and have a new appreciation for different kinds of insects. So these giant prickly stick insects are really unique. Now they are native to Australia. The two easternmost parts of Australia is where you can find them in the forests, and they mimic the leaves that they feed on. So now you'll notice that they're kind of a brownish color. They can also be kind of green in color. And they are covered in thorn-like spikes. So this is, of course, their first line of defense is that really cool camouflage. They blend in so well. And those spikes on their legs also act as defense. Now, if them hanging out in a tree, looking just like a stick, swaying back and forth like they're swaying in the wind, if that is not enough, and there is still a predator who has spotted them, they do have a couple extra lines of defense. If they're feeling especially threatened, they can stand on their front or middle pair of legs, point their abdomen to the side, and make themselves look like a scorpion. And then they fold their legs to help defend their abdomen where most of their organs live. And they also have a defensive odor that they can make. And this in terms of like human smells, what humans have smelt, it has been said that it is reminiscent of a smell of peanut butter or vinegar or toffee. So it's pretty interesting, the different kind of smells that we might associate with it, but to other animals who might be trying to eat these stick insects, they might think it's absolutely disgusting and go on their merry way. Now, these stick insects have a really short lifespan, which I think is really interesting, and what they do in the time that they do spend on this earth, what they do with that is cool. So they will only live for 10 to 12 months. So at a maximum, they're living around 1 year. Now, in those few months, females will begin to have offspring at 4 months old. They can reproduce in one of two ways. If a female reproduces asexually, meaning that she is reproducing without the eggs being fertilized by a male, all of her offspring will be female, which is so cool. But if those eggs are fertilized by a male, there is a 50% chance that those offspring will be male. Now, in several months, they can lay anywhere from 100 to 200 eggs. Now, with these teeny tiny eggs, what happens from there? Now, I think we're going to be able to get a look at a couple of eggs that we have spotted this morning in our stick insect enclosure here. So that is what their eggs look like, and when the females will lay those eggs, they will fall to the forest floor, and they are actually collected by ants, and they get taken back to the ant nest, and they're incubated there until they hatch. And this takes around 5 to 8 months. Now, here's where it gets really cool. newly hatched nymphs, so the little babies that hatch out of those eggs, look just like ants. And this helps them to avoid being preyed upon by birds. Now you're probably thinking, well, why does a bird care if it's an ant or not? Well, Australia has venomous ants, so those birds like to steer clear of ants. Other predators that might be interested in these stick bugs would be things like birds and bats. Now you're probably noticing all of the lovely greenery in this habitat we have here. As I mentioned at the very beginning, they mimic the leaves they feed on, so they want to be surrounded by leaves so they can be nice and safe, but they eat those leaves, so they are herbivores, meaning they feed on only plant matter. Now in Australia, they will mainly eat eucalyptus. Here at the zoo, they get browse or live plants like raspberry and oak leaves are things that they like to munch on here. And this species is what we would call least concern, meaning that they are not threatened, they're not endangered, but although they're least concern, they can still face threats. So these threats are things like forest fires and wildfires, and this does have an impact on stick bugs. So although we are not here in Australia, we are here in Massachusetts, of course, you can still do things to help. By decreasing your carbon footprint, this helps this species along with many, many others. Now, I also just want to point out that here at the Stone Zoo, you cannot see these giant prickly stick insects. They do live in a behind-the-scenes space, but at the Franklin Park Zoo, you can see them at the Birds World exhibit. And if you're feeling really, really jazzed about prickly stick insects, also known as Australian walking sticks, you can go to our website at zoonewengland.org and search Australian walking sticks, and you can read lots more about them.
And we do have a quick question. Could you have this species as a pet?
Excellent question. You cannot have this species as a pet. Even though these stick insects live here at the zoo, we are permitted to have them. We have a permit to have them here at the zoo. The reason this is because they have the potential to be an invasive species, which is not good. So with this permit, we have to closely monitor them, be cautious of the way we dispose all of our materials, etc., to make sure that this species does not become invasive here in Massachusetts. All right, well, thank you all so much for tuning in to today's Zoo to You, and of course, happy World Stick Insect Day. I hope you all have a great rest of your week, and we will see you next time. Bye.